So guys, we are live on YouTube, our channel JavaScript Trends. This is our second talk. So last week we were having talk about ES6 discussion. Shivam drive the talk. So we have started this channel to spread awareness in the JavaScript community about what latest things are coming, what are the misconceptions, and discussing about some of the difficult topics. So in today's talk, we would be taking on asynchronicity. So I feel that asynchronous is the most misunderstood topic in JavaScript, and it is most commonly used also because we use it everywhere whenever we do any Ajax call or simple DOM event listening and everything. So now Navtej and Shivam would be giving their introduction.
Okay, cool. I'll start. I am Shivam. I work as a front-end developer in ThoughtWorks, as I have already told you in the previous talk. We have this previous talk around ES6. We have continued this today, and we'll be talking about asynchronous talks. And yes, we'll be continuing it in the future too. Navtej, go ahead.
Hello everyone, myself Navtej, and I'm working in Snapdeal as a front-end developer. And personally, I am very excited about this talk. You guys are going to learn a lot of stuff. It is async, and Atish will tell you how to do that right. Okay, so that's all. I think Atish, you can continue.
So myself, Atisha, I work as a front-end developer at Times of India. Let's start our talk. So I'll be sharing my screen, and I will be also posting the link of the article which we will be using.
Okay.
So are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
And the font is visible to you?
Yes, sufficiently visible.
Okay. So we'll start with having a brief introduction about what is the main concept behind this asynchronicity.
Okay.
What is the event loop?
Okay.
So whenever we talk about, let's say, any asynchronous operation, let's say it is a set timeout. So what internally goes behind the scene is JavaScript is having a single event loop. It only cares about whatever code or whatever function it has to do the execution. Now we do a, let's say, set timeout 1000 seconds and print console.log hello world. Now the environment or the execution environment in which we are executing JavaScript has to take care about the asynchronicity. So these may be your Chrome browser, or if you are running on Node, maybe Node server engines. So whenever we do a set timeout, your browser will get the callback function which you have passed in the set timeout. This now it is the responsibility of the browser that after 1000 milliseconds it has to push back that callback function in the JavaScript event loop. So there are a couple of things over here. One thing is your JavaScript is running, and other thing is your execution environment is running. Now this execution environment will deal with all these stuff. Whether you do a Ajax call, you do a asynchronous DOM event, or whatever, you do a database query or whatever you are doing. So now this browser or your execution environment will be doing all the computation, and then when it has the value or when the timeout expires, it will push the function back in the JavaScript event loop. Now if at that particular moment event loop is free, that is it is not doing any other execution, it will run your code is automatically. Or if it is the case that there are certain things which are happening in your event loop, let's say there is some function execution going on, even your timeout has over, that 1000 milliseconds have expired, but it is not guaranteed that your console.log hello world will be printed on the screen. So the whole idea behind this is that event loop is single threaded, and your execution environment may be multi-threaded, or maybe it is doing the parallel computation.
Okay, so it's like, one thing, when the stack is empty, the callback is going to dequeue from the event loop, and it is going to push into the stack, so that the stack can compute that.
Yeah, correct, correct, correct.
Understood. Okay.
Now,
Right.
you have any queries, Shivam?
Yeah, but I just wanted to like tell that whenever we say that when we give a timeout of 0 milliseconds to set timeout, we always say that it is a minimum time for the execution. Like 0 second is the minimum time. We don't say it is the exact time.
Yes.
This is why we say this, because first the normal execution gets done and the things gets pushed into the event loop. First the normal flow completes. That's why we say that at least it will take 0 seconds, 0 milliseconds or something. That's why we say it, because it pushes the thing into event loop and then picks it up from there.
Yeah. So behind the scene, it is like, there is a tick mechanism. Every browser, check whether the stack is empty. And whenever the stack is empty, it is going to, dequeue the callback function, and it is going to push that into the stack. So that's why it's always said, like, it is the minimum time. I mean, it can happen later on that time. So it will check whether the stack is empty. And whenever the stack will be empty, the item will be, the function will be going to dequeue, and it is going to get pushed into the stack, and the stack will, execute that. Cool. Yeah.
So now we will be looking into the various ways in which we achieve asynchronicity, or we handle rather asynchronicity in our code. So we'll start with the basic callbacks, which I think everyone would be aware of, but it is very important to understand that why callbacks are, very much painful when you do when you deal with real life situations.
Okay.
So first, let's have a look at what callback is. So callback is just a simple function which you give to your execution environment, that whenever you are done with something, you just send me that this function to my stack, I will execute this. So this is a simple callback function. You can see the example over here. So when you do a Ajax call, you listen to the events, it's like that. Now, let's think of a very real life scenario which will help us understand how callbacks really work. Let's say that you want to hit a server, and you are making 3 hits simultaneously.
Okay.
For file 1, this one, for file 2, file 3. So now your only task is to print the results sequentially. So the concept is that you will be hitting the server for all these files at once, like one URL for file 1, another for file 2, another for file 3. But you have to print the result of first, followed by the result of second, followed by the result of third. We deal with these situations, in the daily life, that you hit a server, you get a response. If the response is available, then you make another hit and do this kind of thing. So just think that how you will achieve this only using callbacks.
It's a very tedious thing to do with the plain JavaScript using callbacks.
Yeah. And we don't know whether which call is going to complete first. I mean, it is going either the first one or the second or the third one is going to complete first. So we don't know what will happen. Yeah.
So there are, couple of ways. One way is that after completion of first, you query the second, and after completion of second, you query the third, and then print all the result. But that is, very bad in terms of performance, because you are not utilizing your bandwidth to the full. So
yeah, and also, we are restricting. Maybe, the second and the third data is there, but the first one is taking a lot of time. So you are checking the first one to first complete, and then you are querying the second and third. So we are restricting our user. It's
the second approach, which we have an example right here. So we are calling these 3 files simultaneously. This get file function over here, I have created this get file function, and this is a fake Ajax. We are not using any XHR, so I have created this fake Ajax function, so it has some random timeouts and random values. So we call these three files. The URL is file1, file2, and file3.
Okay.
Now, to achieve this simple task, you will have to either create some global objects or global arrays that the response of first is available. Now check for the response of second, response of the third. So look at the complexity of this loop.
Okay.
This is just for three files.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now think of the situations which you encounter in your daily life, like when user is doing some input in your text box, you have to print the user mentions. When user clicks on the user mention, get the data. So it is, these things are much more complicated than our simple example of three files. So to achieve these simple things, you have to write a lot of code.
So what you are doing in for loop is like you are checking whether all the responses are there. If those are there, then you are outputting those
Yeah,
responses,
so
right?
that is the one approach. But what I am doing is I am doing that if response of one first file is available, print that,
Okay.
because first file anyways we have to print. Then check for the second. If it is available, print that. Then check for the third. If it is available, print that.
What will
So
happen
this,
if the response will not be there? I mean, this for loop will execute only once, okay? And at that point of time, only the first response, let us say only the first response, you got you got the first response. And
yeah.
what about the second and third? I mean, it will execute only once.
No,
What he's doing is this file received is a callback function which he's calling when the response comes. So
yeah.
first time there will be response for only one file.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it will execute. It will not execute this if loop.
Okay.
Next time when response of second file come, he's creating a global object which he says as responses, and this
Okay. I got
just
it.
save the response in that. So after three executions, it will have all the results. So then it will be executing this.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So not only the complexity, but these kind of code may run for you, but these are, I mean, very difficult to maintain and very much prone to some errors. Because maybe this is a network call and you don't know, you miss some edge case or you miss certain things, and totally, I mean, the impact could be very huge.
Right.
So I read a case study of a e-commerce site. So they use this mechanism that whenever a user is adding items to the cart, they are generating the amount, and whenever he hits the checkout button, they will do a call to the server for all these 3-4 things, and they will calculate the total price. Now everything was happening very beautifully, QA approved everything, and suddenly one day what happened that one person ordered three things and his amount was in like lakhs, or it was kept on increasing. They were not able to figure out what is the real cause of the issue. So the real cause of the issue was that this callback was calling more than once. So there was some bug in the service which was causing the callback repetitively,
Okay.
and that's why the amount was increasing. So I mean, it is very hard to figure out what is the wrong in this code, although it looks like what we have just run a loop and that's it. So with callbacks, I say that there is a trust issue.
Okay.
Callback may be called many times, too few times, and very difficult to write also. So that is the reason we move to promises.
Right.
Now with callback, I mean, if you are familiar with Angular, you are familiar with inversion of control. So callback is an implementation of inversion of control. So typically this function doesn't control himself. So there is some driving service which is controlling that how many times this function will be called.
Like you can tell what is that driving service here in this particular case?
in this particular case, it is this fake Ajax, or
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Agree.
yeah. Now let's first understand what a promise is. Now, then we will understand how we can solve this problem beautifully using promises. Uh, so, promise is a simple guarantee of a value that let's take a very simple example. You go to a McDonald's and you order a burger. So immediately when you pay your money, you didn't get the burger, but you get your receipt. So this receipt is a promise that you will get a burger, or you may not get a burger at some later point of time. This is this
Right.
this is the same concept with promise. You do a server call, immediately you get a return, that is a promise that after certain amount of time you will get a result, or maybe you don't get a result. So this is, I mean, the real life meaning of promise.
Okay.
Now there are mainly three states of promise. One is pending, which is waiting for the execution to complete, fulfilled when you have the result. I mean, when you have your burger ready, you are eating. One is rejected. The McDonald's says that your burger is not available, or something mishap happened. Now
Okay.
we will look how a promise is implemented. So a promise is implemented using a promise constructor, which takes a function and two parameters, resolve and reject.
Okay.
Now you can do your all your logic over here, and when your data is ready, you can say resolve success, or if there is some error, you can reject the promise. Now to use the promise, so this is how you create a promise, which you will be using in your some Ajax function, that when the Ajax call is available, resolve the promise. If there is some error from the server, reject the promise, and immediately you return this promise.
So this is how, you know, the APIs, like the Angular API has been implemented. I mean, they return a new promise, and they resolve it by with the data if the data is available, and if
Yep.
something went wrong, they reject it with the failure. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So then to use a promise, so promise gives you a callback on a then function. Whenever the data is available, this then will be executed. The value over here will be the data, or if there is an error, you can simply see the error.
So it's very clean. I mean, you can see the code and you know what is happening. I mean,
Uh-huh. And also it has solved the inversion of control issue. Now the only thing you have to concern about this dot then.
yes.
There will be no other external, that whether my callback will be called, whether my callback will be called too many times, it will be called only once. If it is successful, rejected, or whatever, it will be called only once.
It's because, you know, my promise can be resolved only once. That is the
Yeah.
scenario. Yeah.
Mhm. We'll look at the same example which we looked earlier, and we will see how we will implement the same thing with the promise. So this is the same fake Ajax server which we are using. It is sending 3 files. Now, instead of calling a callback function with the get file method, earlier we were calling this callback function over here. When the file is received, if we call this get callback function. Instead of that, we immediately return a value. So there is no looking or waiting for this callback result. We simply return a value.
Okay.
Now, yeah, where we were doing the loops and all, we the promise that if the result of first is available, I mean the first promise is successful, then output the result of the first. After that, you chain the promise, then return promise number 2, then return promise number 3. Is it somewhat confusing? I mean,
I just have one doubt.
Yeah.
The get file function, you are passing it only resolve. You are not passing reject here. That's optional. That means, but yeah, in fake Ajax, you are passing second parameter as resolve. Can you show me the fake Ajax function, that how it is using that resolve? Okay, it is a callback that you pass, and you are resolving. You are using that in the set time.
Yeah, so I have not changed the implementation of fake Ajax. It is same as the previous example.
So now the CB is
Okay.
representing the resolve function.
Response. Yeah, resolve. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. See, the code has become much cleaner
Yes.
from before, and it is a lot understandable now. You don't have to go into loops and loops to check if the response from first call has come. You can just do dot then and just check for the
And
another.
this is a way you can chain the promises.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
So, I mean, promise library takes care of. You just have to return the promise, and then you can channel your second promise and third promise.
Right. Great.
So it takes care of everything behind the scene.
And even the modern browsers, you don't have to include any promise library. They by default gives you the promise keyword, so you can by default use that keyword.
Yeah.
Without including a library. Yeah. Cool.
Now we will be looking on this promise API. What are the methods which are available? So then is for the success, and catch is when there is some failure. You can catch the failure in this catch call.
Right.
Promise.all. Now there are several real life scenarios that you want to see. You want to execute something when your all of the asynchronous operations are over.
Okay.
Let's say that you are building a file loader which you use in Webpack. A simple file loader, when you require files on the top, that file is requiring 10 files. That 10 files are requiring 5 other files. So this is a use case that your final file should only execute when all of these files have been resolved. So all the files are available. So then you use promise.all.
Right.
So in promise.all, you pass an array of promises and say that whenever all these promises are done with their job, they are executed, they are either rejected or fulfilled, then execute that thing.
Okay.
So in the example of JavaScript loaders, when all the dependencies are resolved, when all the files are available, then execute my current file.
Right.
Yeah. And guys who are watching this, I mean, I just want to say, like, this promise.all has been asked in many interviews. Those who are new to the JavaScript can just, read about it, go through it, and because it will be asked in the interviews.
Correct.
I have a doubt in this. How the rejection works in this case? Is it if only the one promise rejects, then it goes to the rejection, or all the promises?
So with promise.all, even if one promise is rejected, it will go to the reject.
Okay,
so let's
the
say
first
that
one
you have
which
changed 20 promise and one promise has failed, then it will go in the rejection.
So you are not using the rejection callback here, right? It's the success one only.
Yeah, just for demonstration. You can use the reject. So simply done two things. If any of the thing are rejected, then
Okay. We will go into the catch block. That will be the reject case. Okay. So it's like, if I'm using five, promises, and one
Yeah,
of the promise has been rejected, then I will not get the success callback of promise.all. It will be the reject one, right?
correct, correct, correct.
Okay, cool.
Also, the result of the promises that are resolved is in the order that you have done those Ajax calls.
Yeah. So I've done these three Ajax call. First one I have resolved it simply promise.resolve 3.
Okay.
Second is I have resolved again the
With the
static
value.
value. Yeah, and third I have used a set timeout
Okay.
100 millisecond.
Okay.
So with promise.all, this result will be an array containing the result of all your promises. So the first index would be the result of your first promise, and accordingly it will go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
promise.
Cool.
Whatever the Shiva mentioned that this is rejected if any of the promises is rejected.
So it's like P1, P2, P3, P4,
Yeah,
P5. You are rejecting the P5,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you will get, in the
yeah,
reject callback.
yeah.
And
So in the console, I get this reject.
just the reject.
Yep.
And it is not going to be the array.
No, 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 no. So
Okay.
that is the thing. If you want to do, if you want to see that,
Yeah, we can check that. If what about if two of the promises are rejected? Let us see whether it will
No,
return.
no,
no, no,
I
no.
can, yeah, I can tell. What happens is when the first promise fails, it comes into the rejection with the rejection reason of that promise. It don't even evaluates the other promise.
Okay. All right.
So you can do customization if you want. It is very easy to do customization. So this promise.all, if you want to implement it behind the scene, it is nothing more than a this map and reduce of array. I've implemented it. I don't have example right now, but I will post it in the comments.
Okay.
So what it does, you have
Mhm.
three promises. You chain a map function.
Okay.
This
Okay.
map function will be doing some manipulation, and then you chain a reduce function. So this reduce function, so each time you get the response of a promise, you create a new promise. So the result of this reduce will be a chain of promise. So this will be a promise which is containing a chain of the promise. This is a very simple. You can do it with map and reduce, and then simply the result of the reduce, if you do a then, that will be the same as promise.all.
Okay. All right. We
If you
would.
want to do, yeah.
We would love to see that example. You can post that. We can.
I,
We.
I will post that. If you want to do, if you want to see that if two of the promise are failed, I want to see whatever is success, whatever is failure, you can handle that. You can create your wrapper function. It would be very easy. You have to
Okay.
create some if condition, and you can create your wrapper function. There are certain libraries which are available. There is one uh, a sequence which does this, and there are tons of libraries which are available. $Q is doing certain things, and defer, jQuery defer.
Bluebird is also another that I
Yeah, yeah,
use
yeah.
for promises.
Okay. So regarding the libraries, I just want to know. Shivam, because you are working in React, and can you tell the viewers? Is there any kind of XHR library which you guys are using for the XHR request?
Yeah, currently we're using Quest.js library, but we have written some wrappers over it because it does not give you complete functionality what we want to implement. So what we are doing is now we are moving towards fetch or super agent. There are two other libraries for that too. One is the fetch and one is super agent. Fetch is like little different to use. It has .json thing. When you get a JSON response, you have to do response.json to get the actual JSON. But in
Yes.
super agent, you don't have to do those stuff. You can work as you work in your normal promises.
I think the
So
fetch one has been shipped in the browser now. Fetch API
yeah,
is there.
Yeah,
If
fetch is shipped in the, so
yeah,
fetch is completely based on
right.
promises. So this
yes.
.json .blob is again a promise. So whenever you get a result, fetch returns a promise. Then
Hmm.
there are certain wrapper function. If you want to instead of dot, then you do .json, you get the result in the terms of JSON. If you do dot blob, you get the result in terms of the blob. So this is completely on top of promise.
Okay, so
Fetch
Shivam,
API.
you was mentioning the fetch API or the library? I mean,
Library,
okay,
fetch
fetch
library.
library. All right.
Yeah. Because it's a wrapper around that promises, so you get some customizable things. You don't have to write your own functions. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah. But you can always use the native APIs and write your own wrappers around that.
Okay, I have personally used, Axios. It is very good. It is simple to use, and in small demos, I basically use that, and so many libraries are there. It just depends on your conditions. I mean, which well suits you.
Right.
So viewers, I mean, if you want to understand deep into the promise, you can go to these all the libraries are open source on GitHub. You can go and check their implementation. It is very straightforward. The implementations are straightforward. Once you read the code base, you will get the 100% understanding of how the promise are implementing. And you can also try implementing your own library. It would be very easy. Implementing your own version of promise.all or some customization on promise.all or promise.race. It is very easy.
Okay, all right.
Cool. Let's move ahead.
Now, there is one more API on promise, that is promise.race. Let's say that you have requested for 3-4 asynchronous events. Now you want to listen as soon as any one of them is fulfilled or rejected. So that is promise.race.
Okay.
So it will be called when inside the array first one gets executed, and its catch will be called when first one gets an error. So this example, this REQ1 is the first promise which we are resolving in 8000 millisecond. REQ2 is the second promise which we are resolving in 3000 milliseconds.
Okay.
Now if you do promise.race, REQ1, REQ2, then you will, in the output, you will get what is the result of the first. So the output is the second one, because it was rejected in 3000 milliseconds. So the second one will be the
Not
output.
rejected. It is actually resolved.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is fulfilled.
And this callback is going to, I mean, happen once only. I mean,
It will happen once only. Yeah.
Okay. And what if any of it is rejected first? Then we are going to get into the catch. Okay.
Catch, yeah.
Cool.
You will be getting into the catch. So now we should understand that why promises are way much better than callbacks, and we should always avoid using callbacks wherever possible. It is a very cleaner way to write, and trust issues are you can trust your code. Errors are very few.
Right.
Now the next thing we will be looking are the generator function. So first we will see what is a generator function, then we will try to understand the asynchronicity with generator function, and we will see why they are better, even better than promises, if you master the generator function.
So these has been added in ES6, right?
Yeah, these have been edited in ES6. This is a new syntax from function star. So if guys are coming from C++ background or C background, they may be confused with pointers, but it is again a simple function in JavaScript.
Okay.
So till now, all the function or all the execution were happening only in one flow. So a function, if you call a function, the function will execute. There was no way to stop a function in between. There was no way to stop partial execution of the function. Now, this has been made possible in the ES6. These functions are called generator function. So these generator functions you can control the execution of function, you can stop the execution of the function. So this function itself can stop himself. So if you write any other function in JavaScript, if it is called once, the function has no governance that I should stop, or you cannot write anything to stop the execution of the function.
Okay.
With these generator functions and this yield keyword, you can stop the execution. So
All right.
first we will see a very simple example of a generator function. I have just done console.log hello yield console.log world. When you call a generator function, it returns you an iterator. So this iterator is again a new thing which is introduced in ES6. Now this function will execute in two parts. So firstly, when you do a iterator.next, so if you guys are not familiar with iterators, so iterators are a kind of loop system over the innumerable data types like arrays or strings and these kind of things,
Okay.
so that you can step by step loop over them. So
Okay.
firstly, when and this iterator returns you a next function to call the next method. Let's say if you are running an iterator over an array, first you do it.next, it will print the first index of the array. Then you again do it.next, it will do a print the second index of the array.
Okay.
So this generator function uses those iterators. So when you first do it.next, only console.log hello will be printed. Then it will go over here. It will find a yield keyword. It will stop the execution
Okay. All right.
until it finds another it.next. So this function is now divided into two parts. If you don't do it.next, world will not be printed.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I can pause my function. I mean,
You can pause your function using yield keyword.
yield keyword. All right.
Yeah. So what this has allowed us, this has also allowed us a way to do a two-way data passing. So earlier, whenever you called a function, you can only call with the parameter and you are not having any feature to pass any parameter in between.
Okay. Agree.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you see this it.next, if you pass something from here, right now here we are simply calling it.next. If instead of calling it, I mean, without any argument, you pass anything as a parameter over here, it will go and go in the yield keyword. We will see it over here. So we have created a simple log generator iterator.
Okay.
We have initialized the iterator over here. We do a gen.next call. Now gen.next call, it goes over here, it finds a yield keyword, it stops. Yield stops.
And
Yeah,
okay, so the console.log has not been executed yet.
it has not been executed yet.
Okay, so we are
The
stuck
next,
at the first line.
yeah, we are stuck at the first line.
Okay.
So yield is to stop any expression, not a function. You can put it in any expression to stop the execution over there.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Now, when the next time you do a gen.next call,
Mm-hmm.
you pass something.
Mm-hmm.
When you pass something, it will go and replace the yield keyword, and this thing will be executed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so this output will be here. Similarly, when you do again a next call with this parameter, this yield function will be again replaced. This will be printed, and this will go. Is this clear, or you have some doubt? So this is a implementation of a two-way data passing, which was not available in JavaScript till now.
I mean, it's very cool. I mean, I can pass different kind of values in the next
You can, yeah, you can
into the same
pause the
function.
pause the execution and pass some values in between. pass some values from another function on. We will see the implementation in the promises, how it works beautifully with
Okay,
promise. Yeah.
cool, cool.
Yeah, it will be great to see the usage, where we can use this generator function, because I'm still not able to understand where we can imply, where we can use these generator
Yeah.
functions.
So this concept is very new. I don't think much of the people are using this generator function, but in future it could be a very big thing.
Maybe
May
we can use, like, let us say a scenario, where you are passing up different kind of parameters, and on getting a response, let us say the response of a particular server, you want to, just cater one of the parameter. So we can use this generator function efficiently. I mean, instead of passing everything, in the parameters, just do the gen.next, and later on, you can get that response out, you can verify that response, and then you can pass only the one parameter, which the response is demanding. So yeah, use case,
Yeah.
this is a good use case.
yeah, something about generators. You cannot use a generator function as a constructor. It will throw an error.
Generator functions are not constructible.
No,
All right.
no.
Okay.
Now
Now the main topic, async with.
async with generator.
Why you miss why every time?
Here why? Oh, it is not a question.
Not why, we are talking about ASYNC.
Oh,
That
okay.
why.
My typing is terrible. I type very fast, so I miss certain things.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
That's a great excuse. Yeah, you can go ahead.
First, we will see how we will be simply using callbacks as of now. We
Yeah,
will be seeing how. Yeah.
just go through the example first. I mean, this is very important one. So go through it first. I mean, tell us what is request and what is the main. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So here we are simply calling two URLs.
Okay.
First one is this. Second one is this. And if the data of first one is available, we are calling the second URL, and we are printing the values. That's it. So earlier we saw how we did it using callbacks, how we did it using promises.
Mm-hmm.
Now we will see what is the importance of generator over here.
Okay.
This request block over here is
Just a server.
nothing but it is a server, and it is not a server. It is kind of your function where you do a Ajax call.
Yeah.
So I have removed all the code of Ajax. I have simply created a make Ajax function with this callback. Your Ajax will be calling your this callback.
Okay.
So this is your main driver code. So you initialize the code over here, it equal to main. Then you do it.next.
Okay.
Now when you do it.next, what will happen? It will find the yield keyword.
Okay.
It will stop its execution.
All right.
Although the requested URL.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see this example again. So here we saw how we do a two-way communication between the generator function and
Mm-hmm.
other things. Now when you do this request with this URL,
Okay. This function
this
will.
will
Okay.
no. Yeah.
On the first line, what happens is, when it finds the yield keyword, it does not stop there. It also call that request function, right?
Yeah. I mean, this line it will execute.
Okay, but its result will not be executed.
Yeah. So this request will be called to the server,
Mm-hmm.
and we are not returning anything over here. So
Yeah, ideally we should return a promise here from
no.
our request.
Yeah. We will see it later. So here we are getting undefined.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Agree.
we are getting undefined. Now, when we do this call, although it is not returning anything, but here in this Ajax call, it is doing it.next response.
Okay.
Now,
That's right.
here
Okay.
the similar thing we did, we passed as the static string. So here it.next will send this response over here to the yield keyword,
Yes.
and the result one will be available.
So you got the first result, right?
I got the
Right.
first result.
Okay.
I did my JSON parsing.
Okay.
I again did the same thing.
Okay.
I requested again.
Okay.
This function returned me undefined.
Mm-hmm.
So here it would be undefined,
Mm-hmm.
but it also did it.next, because this it is a global iterator over here. It is also available inside this Ajax call.
Okay.
Now this Ajax call again executed your function and you got your result.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a simple use case where you can use your generator function to do a asynchronous handling very cleanly. So till the time your result is not available, your code is freezed.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Right.
other steps will not be executed, which was not the case earlier with promises or callbacks or whatever. Your code will be freezed over here. So in a way, this function runs synchronously, but also giving you all the flexibilities which your callback was giving, and it is much cleaner. Once you master over it, it is much cleaner. You only have to do a it.next and all the result, then step by step it will be executed.
Okay.
Good.
If you use it extensively, if you master the generators, they would be really helpful.
Are you guys using generators in the production code?
Not yet. We don't use
Just because.
generator as of yet.
Because it's quite new. I mean, many few people are familiar with it, and
Yeah,
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 soon the
correct.
people will adopt it. Okay.
Yeah. Also, the use case people may not be familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
So these new libraries, RxJS observables, are somewhat similar to these concepts. I don't say that it is they are using generator, but the concept is much more the same as of the generators.
Cool.
Okay.
Promises with generators.
Yeah,
All right.
promises with generator. Now, if here we were returning undefined, so instead of returning undefined, if we use promise and we use the power of promise.then, and inside promise.then we channel the generator.
Okay.
When the response of the first promise is available, call my generator, again execute the code. When again the promise is available, again execute the code. So this will be the whole idea of the second example over here.
Okay.
Now first understand this run generator function. This run generator function we have written kind of a wrapper function so that we can easily iterate over the generators. This driver code is the same which we used in the previous example. We are calling requesting the over here, we are again requesting over here, and we are printing whatever was the asked values. Now you pass all your driver function in this run generator. Now run generator will initialize your generator, and then
From where are you calling this run generator method?
here
Bottom. Yeah.
Okay, you are passing a generator function to the run generator method.
yeah
Yes. Yes.
So I'm only simply passing this generator function over here in the G.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Yeah. So it is initializing my generator. Now it is a immediately executable function. It goes and there
Going to
was
return.
no value for the first time, so yield keyword would be called,
Mm.
Okay.
and what we are getting, it is somewhat, let's say, how to understand this code.
Yeah, this you are doing return dot done. This is the iterator object returns an object
Yeah,
which has a
yeah,
value
yeah,
and the which has a value and the done property.
yeah.
That's
So
all.
iterator function returns an object. So this object has couple of things. One is the value and the done keyword. So when your iteratable object is completed with all these iteration, it returns as done as false, done as yeah true. So till when
Right.
this done is not true, we are executing our generator. Now
No, in this particular case, the done will be true or false. I didn't get that.
it will be
Then
false. Firstly,
It
it
will
will
be
be
false.
false.
right.
Okay.
Then will be
So
true at the end of the iteration when you have the
yeah.
last element of the iteration.
So here, if you would be doing a done over here, gen dot done over here, so it will be false on the first, second, third. It will be true in the fourth call. So if
Fourth
you,
Right.
call. All right.
yeah, if you
All right.
do, I mean, if you do three times, whatever is the length of your iterator, plus one will
Mm-hmm.
be your false case.
So it's like, whenever my generator function is fully executed,
Yeah,
then it
yeah,
will be true. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right. A little complex problem to
Yeah,
Yeah.
understand.
it is a little complex
For
problem.
for new people, it is going to be
Right.
pretty much complex. All right.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's fine.
yeah. Now, because for the all the three cases, this done will be false.
Okay.
We are checking the value of the generator. So we check the value of iteratable. We check the value of the iteratable in it dot value.
Right.
Yeah. So you can avoid this else case and everything. These are simply for performance optimization and all.
Because you're calling iterator again and again till you get the done. Like it's
Yeah.
like, at the end of the so you're making sure my generator function has been executed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So fine. Let's go to this line then in return
Yeah.
dot value.
So let's again see from here because the code is. So
Okay.
when you requested for your URL, now you got your promise back.
Okay.
The value of your iterator is a promise.
Mhm.
Now, whenever this promise will be fulfilled, I will again call iterate function
Okay.
with the value of this current promise,
Okay.
and this will happen till the time all promises are
Resolved.
resolved. So when all
Mhm.
promises will be resolved, this done will be false and this code will stop the execution. I know it is a bit,
It's quite complicated. I mean, as compared to promise.all, you're doing the same thing by using
yeah,
the generator function.
yeah. So we are
Okay.
combining promises and generator for
Mhm.
demonstration purpose, and there is also, we will see later on
Okay.
what is this run generator function and how we can
Mhm.
optimize it.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So this is a simple, not simple example. This is an example where we channel promises and generator, and we can use them to do our asynchronous operation. Now we don't have to create this run generator function ourselves. There are several libraries which are available, which does the execution, which gives you this run generator function. So just to understand what happens behind the scene, how generators and promises correlate, that's why I posted this example over here, how promises and generators correlate.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you simply have to do this much thing if you want to use generator with promises. Now comes async await. Async await is nothing but the same run generator function which we were using over here. You replace it with async keyword, you pass your function over here, and it will do all the things. So instead
Okay.
of doing the yield, you do a await, you
Mhm.
do a simple request call from here, it will return the promise. And
Okay.
the work of this run generator function, which were way complex,
Mhm.
has been done this by async. So behind the scene, it is doing the same thing which we are doing it over here. It may do it very efficiently, but that is the way it is handling the promises and the
Okay.
generators. So
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 so.
your
Mhm.
code will be reduced to these 4 lines.
Okay, so await is going to wait till my request has been fully completed, and when the promise is resolved, then it is going to, give that promise to result one, or
Yeah.
or the response. So your
Mm,
result
So
one is going to be the response, right?
yeah,
right.
result. Yeah.
Okay.
So it will wait. It will freeze the code till the time uh, the value is available to you. Whenever the value is available, it will run again. Again, it will freeze your code over here till the time this value is available.
Okay.
Then it will
Okay.
do the same thing. And
All
this,
right. So
yeah,
okay. So await is going to give me the data in my request. The response. Okay.
it
So
will
it
do
is
the
going to be the
similar thing which yield was doing over here.
okay.
And this async will do the same thing which run generator was doing here.
Agree. Understood.
So these things are very new. This is planned in year 7. We don't know when it will be released, but this may be the future. There are talks that promises are getting deprecated in year
Mm-hmm.
7. You will be using generator functions. You will be using async await. So we used all these example to understand what things were happening behind the scene, how you
Okay.
can utilize each and everything to the full fully, I mean, understanding the asynchronicity and all. So now I think these concepts would be much more clear and deeper. If you have any other thing, you have any other doubt, you can post in the comment. You can ask
Mhm.
me right now.
Okay. So what if I want to try this async? I mean, is there any kind of library out there which you are familiar of?
Not, I have not used any library for async.
Await. Async await.
There are
Mm,
execution environment in which you can try this await. Libraries, I'm not very sure of. There are libraries. I read an
Mhm.
article from.
So I'm assuming that
Sim-
async has not been added into the browser yet, right?
No. It is in
no, no.
ES7.
It's
Right.
in ES.
Yeah. There are npm packages for
Yeah,
ES7.
yeah.
You can use that to
Uh,
translate your code to normal JavaScript that browser can understand.
so first you should understand how generators work. If you understand the working of the generators completely, you will get
Mhm.
async await. It is nothing but a wrapper on this.
Yeah. And this is the future of JavaScript. I mean, you can't, skip it. Just go and
I'm
fix
also
it.
curious about the internal implementation of await. Is it using a event loop? Uh, like if like it stops execution here, right?
It
So it
stops execution, so
is it
your
is it
environment
using?
takes care of it.
Uh, I'm not sure if it is the event loop that it gets pushed into, and if it gets evaluated and it comes
Yeah,
again.
even that thought come into my mind. We can, I mean, right now, Atisha, are you sure what is happening behind the scene with the event loop?
So event loop is not freezing. That is one thing. Event loop is continuing it execution. Event loop is not executing. But when you do yield, so earlier we talked about what is the role of your execution environment, your node or your browser.
Right.
So this is the responsibility of your execution environment to stop the function and do all this computation and restart that function
Again.
again.
Mhm.
It will be pushing that function in the event loop in a particular way so that it starts from here. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so it can work, in that way when you try to iterate like it.next in the previous example, it is
uh,
going to, push that function into the event loop, and it is going to check whether the yield has been resolved or not. And if the yield has been resolved, it is going to check whether the stack is empty, and again, it is going
yeah,
to
yeah,
push that function into stack and start
correct,
computing again.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct, correct.
All right.
So right now browsers are not supporting it, but you can use your npm packages to convert it. It converts into, if you want to see how it is implemented in
Mhm.
ES6, ES5. You want to see how a generator is implemented in ES6, I can show you right away.
All right. I think we have enough time. It's been So we started our discussion at what time? Sorry.
Yeah. We also, I think around an hour back. So we also have to discuss the tips and tricks that
Yeah,
we
yeah. We can
Yeah,
decided.
discuss. It's fine.
tips
Yeah.
and
Right.
tricks. And oh yeah, here I am having an example. So this is how it is implemented in ES5. If you want to write your own method to compile it, you can write it like it uses your array map function, then it uses certain switch cases and all this complex stuffs.
Okay.
We're also
All
using the
right.
font.
So, and what is this ES5 maker, Atishay? I'm not familiar.
So this ES5 maker is a simple Chrome extension I built for this POC or testing purpose, so that it converts
Cool.
whenever you type anything in ES, it shows your same version in ES. Did that.
Okay.
Can you also ping the link on the YouTube video for this
I will do
extension?
that.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
I mean, I
I will
would
do.
love to try this thing.
Right.
I will do that.
Every you don't have to go to Babelify always. It's offline.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's really a
Uh,
good thing. Yeah.
so,
All right, Atishay, any new thing you want to add?
so there is one more thing, observable,
Okay.
which is again new, which are, there are many libraries.
Okay.
We will not be discussing observable in detail because that
Mhm.
is again a very big concept. It needs around an hour.
Mhm.
So observable is developed by certain people at Microsoft. So RxJS is a library which uses observable. So
Okay.
now observable, you can relate to promise, but they are again much different than promise. The API is similar to promise. There are three functions in the observable. So you call observable dot on error execute my this function, on success execute my this function, and on
Mhm.
completion execute
Mhm.
some function.
Okay. So we can hold a talk about that
Yeah,
in
yeah.
future. I
So the
mean,
only benefit with observable is that the promises consumes much more memory.
okay.
However, don't consume memory because they execute runtime.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so this promise is always available for you. The value is always available in form of promise, but it is not the
Okay.
case with observable. So we will discuss in much someday later. We will discuss much on observable.
All right, Atishay. So we had, a very good discussion, and we learned, different techniques in which we can do the async communication. And I think we still have time to discuss about the tips and tricks. And
Yeah, yeah.
Atishay, do you have any tips and tricks? Because I don't have. I didn't prepare for that.
So
Sorry.
first you guys start, then I will drink some
Okay.
water.
Okay.
Uh,
I
so
can start with the first. I just wanted to discuss two tips. One is around the JavaScript shortcut that is called shortcut conditionals, and one is about app that I find really useful when I have to copy a lot of things to my clipboard so that I can maintain my clipboard history. I can share my screen.
okay.
Let me show you.
Also in the description and comments, post your links.
Sure. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one is the shortcut conditionals. There's a tip in JavaScript that I have really liked. I recently learned it. Say when you have to write, you use if you have to check for a true condition. What you then generally do is you check like if the user is logged in, you do some stuff on that. But uh, the shorter syntax for that is you can simply do logged in and do stuff. It is really useful, and in only one line you can do the things. Like you don't have to use if else loop, and even in the React rendering methods, but you can use you can also check for state property, and you can use this conditional so that you can make your thing a single liner rather than using if else in your JSX. It's really useful, that I find. Right. The another one is the Flycut Mac app that I talked about, that it maintains your clipboard history. It's available on Mac App Store, and it's available for free. What you can do is say I'll give you demo of this app. You can copy this link, you can copy this link. I'm just maintaining different copies, so that I just want to show you that I have different stuff that I have copied. And if I want to paste it somewhere, I can paste it anywhere. What I can do is I can just press the shortcut Command Shift V, and it will show me the you can see this pop up, right? Yeah, it shows me the history of the things that I have copied. And if I want to paste something, I just stop there and say I want to paste this link of hangouts.google.com. I just stop there and just press enter, and it will paste the link there. Anywhere you can paste.
This is very useful if you read a lot of things on internet. I really like it.
Right, like it's to maintain your clipboard history. It's really useful. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Cool, Atishay. You can go ahead now. I'm done with my tips and tricks for the day.
So one tip, you can read a book if you haven't read on JavaScript, that is you don't know JS. So the example which we used were I read all about asynchronicity. If you want to deeply understand asynchronicity, you can look at the book. It is from Keel Simpson. It is available online and it is for free. It is available on the GitHub. It is an awesome book on some of the great concepts of JavaScript, closures, event loops, and everything. So I read the asynchronous part completely. It was really awesome. So that is one thing. I will posting the link over here.
Okay.
It's fine if you don't have it.
Yeah. So
it's fine if you haven't prepared. Just like me. All right.
Yeah.
So how much time do we have? I mean, we need to wrap it up.
I think we're done with the time. It's sufficiently good. We have done it around in an hour, I guess. So I think we can wrap it up now.
Okay, yeah. So guys, you know, we are very new in this. I mean, earlier we used to give talks. I mean, and we are not making the video now. We started to make video just because, you know, we want to spread the information to all of you. Okay, and we want your support. Please subscribe to the channel. We are new, and I am pretty sure, like in coming time, you know, you guys will be, you know, watching our videos, and you guys will be commenting on our videos. So let's do it now. And what next? I mean, the next talk we are holding, we will update you soon, and I will give you the overall idea. I mean, it is going to be on the class, which is the syntax in the ES6 recently introduced, and we will be holding that discussions in future. And also, you know, suggest new topics which you guys want to, you know, you want to explore. I mean, just suggest that, and we will be holding, you know, those talk also. And nice discussion. I mean, and we will be back again with class discussion. And till then, I think bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Atishay.
Thank you, Atishay. Yeah, thank you.